Invention.
Elon Musk.
Future.
Exciting.
Book.
Publishing.
Resilience.
Go for no.
Tenacity.
Persistence.
Curiosity.
Powerful.
Courage.
Heart.
Universe.
Big.
So folks, you have tuned into TGV and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording, and we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak, and here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future, and we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host Navin Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. So after starting my TGV journey, the Guiding Voice podcast journey, I was rejected by multiple prominent guests. But did I stop there? Not at all. Because in my opinion, no is next opportunity. If you don't find a particular speaker, we'll find somebody else who is maybe better than that. Like that is how I have been persevering and also persisting. And that is how the journey is not always of essence. And we will come across no's many a times, but we should know how to understand, how to deal with that particular no. And today we have a powerhouse guest, Andrea Waltz, co-founder of Courage Crafters Incorporation, and she's also the co-author of the game-changing philosophy Go for No. And for over 2 decades, Andrea has helped countless individuals and teams learn how to embrace rejection, turn no into a powerful tool, and achieve their biggest goals. So she's also a sought-after speaker and expert on turning fear into fuel for success, right? So today we are going to delve into an interesting topic, which is mastering rejection and the go for no mindset for success with Andrea Waltz. But before we get started, here's an exciting twist. As always, let us tickle our guest's brain. So Andrea, I'm going to kick off the first rapid fire round. I'm going to share certain words, whatever comes to my mind, and I request you to answer them crisply as and when you come across those words without thinking much. And if you're ready, let's get started.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, I love the spirit. And here comes the first word. Invention.
Elon Musk.
Future.
Exciting.
Book.
Publishing.
Resilience.
Go for no.
Tenacity.
Persistence.
Curiosity.
Powerful.
Courage.
Heart.
Universe.
Big.
Leadership.
Important.
Role model.
Parents.
Okay, here comes the last one. Success.
Challenging.
Amazing. I love all your responses and thank you for participating in the first rapid fire round. There is one more rapid fire round towards the end of the episode, so stay tuned. And Andrea, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. I'm so glad to talk with you today, Naveen.
Same here, and thank you for being part of our journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. And with that, let's get the ball rolling. And Andrea, talk to us about your guiding voice. Who is your guiding voice?
Yeah, well, for a long time, my guiding voice actually has been my husband and business partner, because I have learned virtually everything I know from him. No, seriously, we've been business partners and husband and wife for 25 years. He taught me the Go for No philosophy, and I like to joke that I've kind of hijacked that brand from him. I've hijacked the entire business from him because I fell in love with it and I have such a passion for that. And then also, I think intuition goes a long way, right? Yeah. I listen to myself now and I didn't do that for a long time.
In my case, intuition is something which I strongly believe in, and I take decisions just like that. I don't consult people, but whatever the decisions that I have taken, there are no regrets as such. All right. So including starting this Guiding Voice podcast as well. All right. So thank you for sharing about your husband, and I wish to interview him. Okay, and maybe we'll have to plan one day. All right, we'll go to the next one. So talk to us about your success mantra, as in share with us the top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
Yeah, so I think, well, first of all, one is obviously I've been willing to hear no along the path. When we launched our business, I had no idea what I was doing. I at every turn, I was learning something new. And I remember thinking, like, when I graduated from college, that the learning would be behind me and that would be it. And so one is being willing to fail, being willing to hear no and get rejected. So that's the first thing. The second thing, it dovetails into that, which is being a student. You've got to be willing to learn. And even like being in business now for 25 years, as I have, there's such a big part of me that says, like, I just want to be done. Like, can I just be done learning? Can it just be all execution? And now with technology, how it is, and AI and all of these things, you've got to embrace change more than ever. You've got to be a student every day. You've got to be a student. So I think that's the second thing. That took me a while to get, unfortunately. And then I guess the third thing is just being willing to test, try, and see what works, and do more of the stuff that works and do less of the stuff that doesn't. I say yes to a lot of things. As much as I teach Go for No, I also say yes to pretty much almost everything, because, Richard Branson, who's the billionaire founder of Virgin Airlines, says yes to everything, and then he figures it out.
I love it. And especially being a student of life, right? Forever. Like every day there is something to learn, and I think that is essential, more essential than ever, with the rapid pace at which technology is changing, right? And new things are coming into the market and many more. And thank you for sharing that. And with that, let's move to the next one. So can you start explaining the core philosophy behind Go for No and how it transforms the way we approach rejection?
So it's a really counterintuitive philosophy. And the whole idea is that you need to be willing to hear no more often. And we've all grown up. And this is worldwide, by the way. I have readers all over the globe. I hear from tons of people in India. I hear from tons of people in Europe, in Africa, different countries in Africa, Australia, obviously the United States, Canada. And it's a universal thing that we all grow up being taught not to fail and not to hear the word no. Right? It's like, we want to go for yes, right? Everybody wants yes. But the secret, the real counterintuitive strategy is that in order to get more yeses, you have to be willing to hear no more. You've got to be going for no and asking more people for more things and put yourself out there, just like somebody like you were saying about building this show. Well, how do you build that? It's by going after guests. So you're going to get a lot of no's to that, but you're going to get a lot of yeses in the process.
And how does the fear of rejection impact not just professional life, but also personal relationships?
Yeah. So obviously fear of rejection. Well, there's two things. One, fear of rejection is built into our DNA. We're biologically wired to not want to get rejected. We don't want to get thrown out of the tribe. We don't want to get thrown out of the herd. So very hard not to get rejected. But also most of us have had some horrible rejection happen to us when we were young. Right? It could be from like somebody we were pursuing romantically, could be from a parent, it could be the first time you were trying to get a job. And so we have these traumatic rejection experiences. So now we've got, as adults, a tremendous fear of rejection because both of those things have happened to us. And so that's what we're constantly fighting against. And it's about how do you take those experiences and then work to reprogram your mindset so that you can get beyond those things.
Now I want to talk about a specific scenario kind of thing, right? So when someone is job seeking or asking for a raise, how can they push through the fear of rejection without coming across as very desperate or aggressive kind of thing? Because it happens to many of us, right?
So nobody wants to look desperate. So you've got to go in with posture. My friend Ray Higdon calls this posture. And so the idea is, how you hold yourself, how you carry yourself, how you speak. You've got to ask confidently, right? You can't go in feeling beggy. You can't go in with your shoulders slumped and, your hands kind of clenched together and hoping that this person will give you what you want. You have to go in. And then also you have to have the facts to back it up when you're making an ask. And having a preface to whatever you're asking for goes a long way. So for example, if you were going to go in and ask for a raise, you've got to come with the receipts, as they say, right? You've got to come in and say, I'd like to talk to you about something. I've been here X amount of time. These are the projects that I've done. And if there's any objection that you can think of why this person would not give you that raise or that promotion or whatever it is you're asking for, call that out in advance. Put the elephant in the room out there. Say, I know you might be thinking X, so that you already handle that objection and then you make your ask.
Amazing. I love the inputs here. And next, sometimes, like if at all somebody says no, right? People tend to take it personally, right? So what practical strategies can people use to avoid taking this no personally, especially when rejection feels deeply personal?
Sometimes it is completely personal, right? They don't hire you for the job. It's completely about you. Right? It's all about you. Whatever you said, whatever you did. And so, but the thing is that even when it's about you, it's not about you. So you have to remember that. right? And you've got to learn to detach from that rejection. And this is not an easy overnight thing to do because, again, we're wired to not get rejected. And so in your last question, you asked a little bit about fear. Like, how do you get rid of the fear?
Correct.
The fearful feelings will always remain. Like, if I could bottle an elixir where the butterflies and the sweaty hands and the shaky voice somehow went away, that would be great. I would be a billionaire and, we could all go home. And we could all take this magic potion. But those feelings are going to remain. So you have to learn how to ask despite those feelings. And when you get rejected, instead of taking it personally, learn to detach and say, you know what? It's not about me. Even though I'm involved in this is all about the other person. And you've got to just repeat that to yourself over and over and not start picking out all of your flaws and your mistakes and berating yourself. Yes, learn from rejection, but never beat yourself up.
And this brings to my next one. Sometimes, right, people tend to persist and persevere when even after hearing multiple rejections or after hearing no's, right? In my case, normally if I am aspiring to host some prominent speaker, I tend to follow up only twice and there is no third follow-up. Because that's the strict rule, which I keep telling my team also. Okay, because that out of my own experience that I have figured it out, okay, not to bother anybody after 2 rejections or maybe there's no response at all, they're nonchalant. That's okay, right? So how do you recommend people balance this persistence with the wisdom to know when to move on after hearing multiple no's?
So this is such a deep question. We could talk about this question for days. So it's completely situational and it depends on you, right? You're using your guidelines, your wisdom for what is comfortable for you. But I will tell you that in general, most people give up way too soon. So for you, I don't want to come and say you're not persisting enough, but I will tell you in the sales world, the advice is anywhere from 4 up to 10 follow-ups to a no. And so, and most sales experts out there will say it's got to be 6, it's got to be 8. I mean, because of all of the factors that keep people from at least giving you a no. Now, we're following up and this is an important distinction, is not for a yes. We're following up for a decision, right? Because until we have a decision, we don't know if it's a no. And so that's really what we're following up for. So it's not about trying to, and for the people that think following up is pushy or whatever, you're not trying to push them into a yes. You're trying to help make a decision or at least get the decision. So one of the suggestions I like to share is that if you've asked a couple of times, then try a different approach. Ask the person to give you the no. Say, I followed up with you a couple times. I haven't heard back. I assume you've gone a different direction, but I'd love to get a no from you just so we're clear and I can stop following up with you. And if you don't get it, then follow up again and ask again. And so that persistence oftentimes will be the thing where the person finally says, you know what, I'm going to look at this. I'm going to consider the offer, or I'm at least going to make my decision and give this person a no, so that you know that now you can move on. Or if you do get the no, you can ask permission to try again next year or try again in the future.
And also, Andrea, what advice would you give to people who feel discouraged by past failures, particularly those who internalize this rejection as a personal failure?
You got to celebrate your failures. Stop beating yourself up for your failures. That's the advice I give. Look at your biggest no's, the ones that were the painful ones, the rejections you got from the dream job or the promotion that you didn't get. These were all times where you exercised courage, and that is in short supply today, as I see it, of people exercising their courage. So you've got to celebrate your failures instead of berating yourself. One of the strategies that we teach people, set a goal for the number of failures you're going to make, or no's that you're going to collect. And then when you get them, then that's when you should reward yourself and celebrate. I know, it sounds crazy.
No, I love it. All right. So again, going back to my own story, in 2015, I applied for a premier leadership program within General Electric, which is called Corporate Audit Staff. Okay. And to get into that program, you need to do a lot of getting sponsorship from an executive. And after that, you need to write your purpose. There will be a series of interviews. And once you get through that, then you'll be taken for a pilot. So I've been to that pilot and I was hoping I'll be selected for that program. And unfortunately, they did not select me. And the answer was no. However, if I look at the hindsight, I see that after that, I got so many opportunities. Like I got empaneled as a corporate mentor for a B school and I got selected as a guest faculty at a prominent university in India. And likewise, so many miracles have happened, right? Likewise, can you share any memorable stories where hearing no led to unexpected opportunities or eventual success, maybe for you or for your clients or whoever?
Yeah. So one of my favorite stories is, I mentioned my friend Ray Higdon. He decided to collect 20 no's a day. He had started in a new business. He decided that he was going to set a no goal to get 20 no's a day. He went out and he got those 20 no's a day and became the number one income earner in his company, because he didn't stop to prejudge and decide who was going to say no or who was going to say yes to him, right? He just went out and did it. Richard and I, when we first published Go for No, we sent out 500 copies to the biggest companies, vice president of sales, people we thought would immediately get the book, read the book, turn around and order copies for their entire sales force. We thought this would be amazing. And we sent out all these copies. It was a huge expense. It was thousands of dollars. And we waited and we waited and it was crickets. Nobody contacted us. And then one day we got one order. A company ordered 50 copies. We'd actually thought that maybe the post office had thrown away all of the books in a dumpster somewhere because it was such a bad response. Unfortunately, I think all the books made it. We had one company who actually took the time to type up a rejection letter and send it to us and said, we are never going to share your book with Salesforce, just forget about it. And really, I mean, that takes a lot, like for a company to type up a rejection letter to you, right? So we got plenty of no's along the way to our book Go for No. People who didn't understand the title, people who thought the idea was dumb. And still to this day, we have people who read the book and hate it. So it's just part of the process of whenever you try anything, whenever you do anything, you're going to get those rejections. Sometimes, like in your example, right, you're going after a particular thing, you've got a committee, you've got people who are going to decide yes or no, and there are no real avenues. But look at the growth and experience that it gave you in engaging through the process, getting into the pilot, which you did, and what you learned from that. And so it's not that you wasted time. It's that you built knowledge and you built resilience in going through that.
I love it. How did you decide on your title Go for No, and what other titles did you explore?
I don't know that we really came up with, it's been so long, I don't know what some of the other titles were. I know that Richard and I have a huge differing opinion because he said that, and I've heard over the years, some people love the title. They think it's great. Other people think it's ridiculous because who wants to hear the word no, right? Everybody wants to hear a yes. So why would you want to go for no? That sounds so dumb. And I will say that we've created a little bit of a marketing challenge for us because people don't get it, right? They don't understand it. And Richard always thought that if we said Go for No, that people would immediately understand the idea and they wouldn't need to read the book. And I thought, well, no, that makes no sense. They need to know there's so much, it's so deep. There's so much information. And so luckily he got over that.
Love it. Thanks for sharing that. And this has been incredible conversation so far. And it's time for us to add some more spice and some more excitement to the episode. So,
hello, I'm Steve Ahern, one of the judges of the Asia Podcast Awards. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that you're listening to an award-winning podcast. This podcast won its category in the 2024 Podcast Awards, so you know you're listening to quality. Enjoy your listening experience, and congratulations to the team who created this award-winning podcast for you.
If you're ready, let us kick off the second rapid fire round.
I'm ready.
Alright, so here comes the first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
Oh my gosh, this is so easy. And I'm sorry, I'm a walking repetition machine. I would definitely say Go for No on that. You have to know that.
And can you describe yourself in just one word?
Fun. Okay. I like to have fun.
Alright. And what's your go-to activity to recharge?
Reading. I love to read. I love to read nonfiction and fiction.
And if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?
I'll just pick Abraham Lincoln.
All right. And what is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
So one of the best pieces of advice I ever received is don't do something just because you can. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. That's the advice. Wow. Don't do something just because you can.
And what is your favorite way to unwind after a tough day?
Netflix and a glass of red wine.
And what is one habit that contributes to your success?
Really just digging in and working no matter whether I feel like it or not.
Okay. And a skill that you wish you had?
Wish I was better at editing videos.
Okay, wonderful. And here comes the last bullet out of second rapid fire. What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself?
I would love to have and it's probably coming very soon in the future, AI version of myself that could communicate and do lots of tasks for me.
So a digital clone, a digital
That's right,
twin.
a digital clone. Yeah.
Wonderful.
It'll
And
happen.
yeah, definitely it is going to happen. And that's amazing. Second rapid fire. And with that, let's flip back to the mainstream. So there are many leaders who tune into our podcast. And this question is just in case if they have any questions in terms of how can embracing rejection help build a more innovative and also a risk tolerant team culture.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really imperative for the leader to come at this with an open mind, right? And to never punish people's failure. So that's the one thing. Don't punish failure when people make a mistake or whatever. Yes, they need to learn from it and do a failure autopsy. Like look at, okay, what contributed to this? What were all the factors? Just like when there's a accident or a crash or something, everybody gets together and they figure out exactly what caused it so that we can avoid that in the future. And the next thing is celebrate. Like I was saying, celebrate when people go for no, regardless of the result, regardless if they don't get yes, it doesn't matter. Celebrate people's activity and their behavior as much as you celebrate the result. And that's probably the number one advice I would give to a leader in relationship to this idea of go for no.
I love it. Failure autopsy. Right? This is the first time I'm coming across it. And typically we do those kind of postmortem things whenever project goes live. But I think it is important for us to focus on when some things fail as well. Wonderful. That's a great learning. And I loved conversation and I thoroughly enjoyed all your insight. It was really such a pleasure hosting you, Andrea. And how is your experience being hosted on The Guiding Voice?
Thank you. Well, I loved it like I thought I would.
Thank you. And looking forward to hosting you again in future along with Richard this time. All right?
Yes.
I wish you the best in everything that you do.
Thank you. Same.
All right. So friends, that was our episode with Andrea Waltz. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. If you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, The Guiding Voice. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you have been growing with the platform. And now it's time for us to cruise into the trivia segment. And today's trivia is about countries that celebrate failures. Yes, you heard it right. The countries that celebrate failures. And first is Germany. And there is a concept called Bosch's product graveyard. German engineering and technology company Bosch is known for fostering a culture of innovation and learning from mistakes. At one of their R&D centers, they have a product graveyard where failed products are showcased as reminders of the lessons learned through failure. And this open acknowledgement of unsuccessful ventures encourages employees to take risks and continue innovating without the fear of failure. Second is about Sweden, Jantela and embracing failure. So Jantela, a cultural concept in Scandinavian countries, traditionally promotes humility and discourages standing out. However, Sweden has seen a shift in mindset, especially in startups and tech hubs like Stockholm, known for producing unicorns like Spotify and Klarna. Sweden's tech scene actively encourages embracing failure as part of innovation. And entrepreneurs celebrate failure through events like Fuck Up Nights, where professionals openly discuss their business failures to help others learn and grow from these experiences. And third is about Supercell, which is from Finland, and it is about celebrating the failures. Finnish mobile game company Supercell, known for hits like Clash of Clans, has a unique approach to failure. The company celebrates unsuccessful projects as learning opportunities. When a project is shut down, they hold a failure party to celebrate what they have learned from it. And Supercell's iterative and fast-paced culture embraces the idea that failure is part of innovation and improvement. So this is all from my side from the trivia perspective. Likewise, if you know any interesting facts related to companies or countries that are celebrating failures or that are handling rejections very well, do let me know. And in case if you're watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there, or if you found it on any audio platforms or social media platforms, you can comment there as well. So I would love to read what you have to say. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV family. So folks, until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember, the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye.